Sammy Hagar recently released a brand new track called Encore Thank You Goodnight, which he says he wrote in a dream with his former bandmate and late guitar icon Eddie Van Halen. Now, this new track has been getting a lot of buzz, and he spoke to Rolling Stone about the new music, and in that interview, he had some very interesting things to say about Alex Van Halen and that relationship there. Of course, Alex Van Halen last year released that highly anticipated book called Brothers, chronicling his life with Eddie Van Halen and their immensely successful career. And notably absent from that book was the Sammy Hagar era of Van Halen, or Van Hagar as they say. And obviously, Sammy Hagar took offense to that. He even called it blasphemous because with David Lee Roth out of the picture, Sammy Hagar was the one to ultimately allow that band to continue on. So, understandable frustration there. But in this new conversation, he held nothing back, even saying to Alex Van Halen, just leave me alone. In this new conversation with Rolling Stone, here's what Sammy Hagar had to say. When Sammy Hagar became the frontman of Van Halen, or as fans called it, Van Hagar, it was a very pivotal point for the band from 1985 to 1996, and again from 2003 to 2005. It's obvious that Sammy Hagar played an important role in the band's history and arguably kept it going, which is why Sammy didn't take too kindly when Alex Van Halen didn't even mention his tenure in the group in that biography, Brothers, which he released late last year. Now, Alex Van Halen said that it wasn't the same band once David Lee Roth left, which is why he didn't mention it. He told Billboard last year, what happened after Dave left is not the same band. I'm not saying it was better or worse or any of that. The fact is, Ed and I did our best work whenever we played. We always gave it our best shot, but the magic was in the first years when we didn't know what we were doing, when we were willing to try anything. Sammy Hagar responded to his omission from the book at the time, responding on social media saying, Alex is not doing his brother's musical legacy justice by not acknowledging all the #1 albums and some great music Eddie and I wrote together. Not Alex, but Eddie and I wrote together. To not acknowledge those 10 years of music is blasphemy to his brother's musicianship, songwriting, and legacy. But Sammy also said that he hopes that one day he and Alex could make peace. Now, first, Sammy discussed that brand new track, Encore Thank You Goodnight, and he says that Eddie Van Halen came to him in a dream and they worked on the song together. He said, this was 100% a communication from the beyond. There's no question about it. I dream about Eddie all the time, quite honestly. It's a fantastic conversation with Rolling Stone, which I've linked to in the description, and they cover a lot of ground. But during the conversation, one of the things on Sammy Hagar's mind was that fractured relationship with Alex Van Halen, who he said he also recently dreamt about. He told them, I hate to say it, but I dreamt about Alex the other night, man. It was crazy, and it was so friggin' real. I was saying, what are you so pissed off at about me, man? What the Now just tell me what your problem is. What did I do? Just tell me. He said Alex merely laughed at him. It was kind of a friendly laugh. And he goes, you really don't know, do you? And I said, no, I don't. And so then it became this game. And he was saying, well, I'll tell you what. Let's flip a coin. And heads, I'll tell you. Tails, suffer. Now that's a pretty realistic dream. Sammy even wondered out loud if Alex Van Halen was merely jealous that he was still out performing live. He said, I think Al's angry because I'm out doing it, and Mike and I are out doing it, and he can't. He's not a singer. He's not a guitar player. He's not really a band leader, and he seems like he doesn't want to play drums or can't play drums anymore, and he can't go write a new record. Alex wasn't the songwriter in the band. He was the drummer. Eddie and I wrote the songs. Dave and Eddie wrote the songs. And so we can go out and do them. And I think that really bothers him that Mike and I are still out here doing it. I would feel bad. If I put myself in his shoes, I would feel terrible if I couldn't do it anymore. But I'm the happiest guy out of all of them. That pisses people off in itself, being too happy. People don't like that. Sammy even said that by touring and performing the classics, he's even helping to sell Van Halen records. And it sounds like Sammy's ready to move on with his life. He said, I'm okay with it. Al, you're fine. Just leave me alone. And I'll leave you alone. Everything's good. I'm making you money, by the way. Al, I'm out here selling Van Halen records and keeping the name alive. Keeping the music alive. You know, hopefully these guys at some point could get on the phone and maybe have a conversation and figure out what exactly went wrong here, because they have such a great history together, so much great music, the iconic Van Halen, and obviously Sammy Hagar really loved Eddie Van Halen. He's writing music and paying tribute to him, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be any collaboration between Sammy Hagar and Alex Van Halen at any point in the near future. That's your latest update here from Rockfeed. Be sure to subscribe and notifications on for the latest news and updates. And shout out to the Feed fam directly supporting the channel. I'll see you all very soon.